world is once again on edge as new reports surface suggesting a deepening military relationship between Russia and Iran. In a geopolitical landscape already marked by uncertainty and rising tensions, the possibility of advanced and deadly weapons being transferred between these two nations has sparked widespread concern. Analysts, defense experts, and global leaders are all closely monitoring the situation, trying to understand what this growing partnership could mean for the future of international stability. While official confirmations remain limited, multiple sources indicate that cooperation between Moscow and Tehran is becoming more strategic, more coordinated, and potentially more dangerous than ever before. For years, Russia and Iran have maintained a complex relationship built on shared interests, particularly in countering Western influence. However, recent developments suggest that this partnership may be entering a new phase, one that involves deeper military integration and the transfer of advanced weapon systems. These could include missile technology, air defense systems, and other high-impact military assets that would significantly enhance Iran's defense and offensive capabilities. Such a shift would not only alter the balance of power in the Middle East, but could also have ripple effects across Europe, Asia, and beyond. Iran, long subject to international sanctions and restrictions, has consistently sought to modernize its military forces. Despite these limitations, it has managed to develop a formidable arsenal, including ballistic missiles and drone technology. The addition of Russian weaponry, known for its sophistication and effectiveness, could mark a turning point. It would allow Iran to expand its strategic reach, strengthen its deterrence posture, and potentially challenge its regional adversaries with greater confidence. For countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia, this development raises serious security concerns, as it could shift the delicate equilibrium that has defined the region for decades. On the other side, Russia's motivations are equally significant. Facing its own geopolitical challenges and increasing isolation from Western powers, Moscow has been actively seeking to strengthen alliances with non-Western nations. Iran, with its strategic location and shared opposition to U.S. influence, presents a valuable partner. By supporting Iran militarily, Russia not only gains a stronger foothold in the Middle East, but also sends a clear message to its global rivals that it is willing and able to reshape alliances and challenge existing power structures. The potential transfer of advanced missile systems is perhaps the most alarming aspect of these reports. Modern missile technology, especially those capable of long-range precision strikes, can dramatically alter military dynamics. If Iran gains access to such systems, it could extend its reach far beyond its borders, increasing its ability to project power and influence across the region. This would inevitably lead to heightened tensions, as neighboring countries may feel compelled to enhance their own military capabilities in response, potentially triggering an arms race. Air defense systems are another critical factor in this evolving situation. Russia is known for producing some of the most advanced air defense technologies in the world. If such systems are deployed in Iran, they could significantly improve the country's ability to defend against aerial threats, including potential strikes from rival nations. This would complicate any military planning against Iran and could act as a strong deterrent against external intervention. However, it also raises the stakes, as any miscalculation or escalation could lead to a much more complex and dangerous conflict scenario. The international community is watching these developments with a mixture of concern and caution. Western nations, particularly the United States and its allies, have expressed apprehension about the implications of a stronger Russia-Iran military alliance. Diplomatic channels are being explored, and intelligence agencies are working to verify the extent of the reported weapons transfers. At the same time, there is a growing recognition that traditional approaches may not be sufficient to address the challenges posed by this emerging partnership. In the Middle East, reactions have been swift and varied. Some countries are increasing their defense spending and strengthening their own military alliances, while others are calling for restraint and dialogue. The region has long been a focal point of global tensions, and any significant shift in military capabilities can have far-reaching consequences. The introduction of new and advanced weapons into this already volatile environment only adds to the complexity and uncertainty. Another dimension of this issue is the role of technology and innovation. Modern warfare is increasingly defined by advanced systems, including cyber capabilities, unmanned aerial vehicles, and precision-guided munitions. The collaboration between Russia and Iran could extend beyond traditional weapons to include these emerging technologies. This would further enhance Iran's military capabilities and potentially open new fronts in the evolving nature of conflict. Cyber warfare, in particular, represents a growing threat, as it can disrupt critical infrastructure and create chaos without the need for conventional military engagement. Despite the concerns, it is important to note that not all aspects of this relationship are fully understood. Information remains limited, and much of what is being reported is based on intelligence assessments and strategic analysis. Governments are often cautious in revealing details about such sensitive matters, and there may be elements of misinformation or strategic signaling involved. As such, observers must approach these developments with a critical eye, distinguishing between confirmed facts and speculative narratives. Nevertheless, the broader trend is clear. Global alliances are shifting, and new power dynamics are emerging. The relationship between Russia and Iran is a reflection of this changing landscape, where traditional boundaries are being redefined and new partnerships are taking shape. This evolution is not occurring in isolation, but is part of a larger pattern of geopolitical realignment that includes other nations and regions. The potential consequences of these developments are profound. Increased military cooperation between Russia and Iran could lead to greater instability, particularly if it triggers reactions from other major powers. It could also complicate ongoing diplomatic efforts to address issues such as nuclear proliferation and regional conflicts. The balance between deterrence and escalation is delicate, and any misstep could have serious repercussions at the same time. There are those who argue that such alliances are a natural response to the current global environment. In a world where power is increasingly multipolar, countries are seeking to secure their interests through strategic partnerships. From this perspective, the Russia-Iran relationship is not an anomaly but rather an example of how nations adapt to changing circumstances. However, this does not diminish the risks involved, especially when it comes to the proliferation of advanced weaponry. As the situation continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the world will be watching closely. Every development, every statement, and every move will be analyzed for its implications. The stakes are high, and the potential outcomes are uncertain. Whether this growing military cooperation leads to greater stability through deterrence or increased tension through escalation remains to be seen. In conclusion, the reported transfer of deadly Russian weapons to Iran represents a significant development in global geopolitics. It highlights the shifting alliances, the growing importance of military technology, and the complex interplay of interests that define the modern world. As nations navigate this uncertain landscape, the need for careful analysis, strategic thinking, and responsible decision-making has never been more critical. The coming months and years will likely reveal the true impact of this partnership, shaping the course of international relations in ways that are difficult to predict but impossible to ignore. As the world stands at this uncertain crossroads, the true implications of the growing military cooperation between Russia and Iran remain shrouded in a mixture of speculation, intelligence assessments, and strategic signaling. What is clear, however, is that the stakes have risen to a level that demands global attention. This is no longer just a regional issue confined to the Middle East. It is a development with the potential to reshape the broader architecture of international security. In moments like these, history often serves as a reminder of how quickly geopolitical tensions can evolve. Alliances that once seemed unlikely become central pillars of new power structures, while rivalries intensify under the pressure of shifting interests. The relationship between Russia and Iran appears to be following this pattern, gradually transforming from a partnership of convenience into something far more consequential. And as this transformation unfolds, the rest of the world is left to interpret its meaning and prepare for its possible outcomes. One of the most pressing concerns is the risk of escalation. When advanced weapons enter an already volatile environment, the margin for error becomes dangerously thin. A single miscalculation, a misunderstood signal, or an unintended provocation could set off a chain reaction that spirals beyond control. This is particularly true in regions where tensions are already high and where multiple actors operate with overlapping interests and competing agendas. In such an environment, the introduction of new military capabilities does not simply add to the balance of power, it fundamentally alters the rules of engagement. At the same time, there is the question of deterrence. Proponents of stronger military capabilities often argue that they serve as a stabilizing force, discouraging potential adversaries from taking aggressive action. From this perspective, the transfer of advanced weapons could be seen as a means of preventing conflict rather than provoking it. By enhancing Iran's ability to defend itself and respond to threats, these systems might reduce the likelihood of direct confrontation. However, deterrence is a delicate balance, and its effectiveness depends on perception as much as reality. If other nations interpret these developments as a threat rather than a safeguard, the result could be the exact opposite of what is intended. Another critical aspect to consider is the role of global powers and their responses. The United States, European nations, and other key players are unlikely to remain passive observers. Diplomatic efforts may intensify, economic measures could be adjusted, and military postures might be recalibrated in response to the evolving situation. Each of these actions carries its own set of consequences, contributing to a complex web of interactions that will shape the trajectory of events in the coming years. Meanwhile, regional actors are also recalculating their strategies. Countries in the Middle East are acutely aware of how shifts in military capability can impact their security and influence. Some may seek to strengthen their own defense systems, while others might pursue new alliances or deepen existing ones. The result is a dynamic and often unpredictable landscape, where every decision has the potential to trigger a series of reactions. Beyond the immediate strategic considerations, there is also a broader question about the future of global order. The apparent deepening of ties between Russia and Iran reflects a wider trend toward a more multipolar world, where power is distributed among several major players rather than concentrated in a single dominant force. This transition brings both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, it can lead to a more balanced and diverse international system. On the other, it increases the complexity of managing conflicts and maintaining stability, Technology continues to play a central role in this evolving scenario. The nature of warfare is changing rapidly, driven by innovations that were once the stuff of science fiction. Precision-guided weapons, advanced surveillance systems, and cyber capabilities are redefining what it means to project power. If Russia and Iran are indeed collaborating in these areas, the implications could extend far beyond traditional military engagements. Cyber operations, for instance, have the potential to disrupt economies, influence public opinion, and undermine critical infrastructure. All without a single shot being fired. In this context, information itself becomes a powerful tool. Narratives, perceptions, and strategic messaging can shape how events are understood and how responses are formulated. Governments and organizations are increasingly aware of the importance of controlling the narrative, using media and communication channels to influence both domestic and international audiences. As reports of weapons transfer circulate, they become part of a larger story, one that is being written in real time and interpreted in different ways by different actors. Amid all these complexities, it is essential to remember the human dimension of geopolitical developments. Behind every policy decision, every military strategy, and every diplomatic maneuver are millions of people whose lives can be affected. Stability and peace are not abstract concepts. They are conditions that determine the well-being of entire populations. As tensions rise and uncertainties grow, the potential impact on ordinary lives becomes an increasingly important consideration. The path forward is far from certain. There are multiple scenarios that could unfold, each with its own implications. In one scenario, diplomatic efforts succeed in managing tensions, leading to a period of cautious stability where competing interests are balanced through negotiation and compromise. In another, misunderstandings and rivalries escalate, resulting in increased confrontation and the possibility of conflict. There is also the possibility of a prolonged period of strategic competition, where tensions remain high but do not cross the threshold into open conflict. What will determine which path is taken? The answer lies in a combination of factors: leadership decisions, international cooperation, the effectiveness of diplomatic channels, and the ability of nations to manage their differences without resorting to force. It also depends on the willingness of global actors to recognize the risks and act responsibly in the face of uncertainty. As observers, analysts, and global citizens, the challenge is to stay informed and to approach these developments with a nuanced understanding. Simplistic narratives and sensational headlines may capture attention, but they often fail to capture the full complexity of the situation. A deeper analysis reveals a web of interconnected factors, each influencing the others in subtle and sometimes unexpected ways. In the end, the story of Russia and Iran's growing military cooperation is not just about weapons or alliances. It is about the evolving nature of power in the 21st century. It is about how nations navigate a world that is increasingly interconnected yet deeply divided. And it is about the choices that will shape the future, determining whether this period of tension leads to greater conflict or a renewed commitment to stability and peace. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing remains certain: the world cannot afford to look away. The decisions being made today will echo far into the future, influencing not only the balance of power but also the prospects for global security. In this moment of uncertainty, vigilance, dialogue, and thoughtful action are more important than ever. And so, the question remains: what comes next? Will this growing alliance redefine the rules of global engagement, or will it trigger a new wave of tensions that pushes the world closer to the brink? Will diplomacy prevail over confrontation, or will strategic rivalries deepen the divides that already exist? These are the questions that linger, unanswered but impossible to ignore. For now, the world watches, waits, and prepares. Because in geopolitics, as in history, the smallest shifts can lead to the biggest consequences. And the story is far from over.